Only time
incredible.
alcohol touched this mouth was I was at a pool party and there were a bunch of clear cups, and I picked one up and somebody set a glass of clear wine, white wine, down next to my water, and I grabbed it and it went into my mouth and I spit it out. That's the only time alcohol's ever touched these lips in 24 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's poison. It's called Akul, a flesh-eating demon. That's what it's named after. You know, I think they spend $6 billion a year in advertising alcohol because we don't take it naturally. We have to be sold it. It's not natural for our bodies, and it creates toxicity. Yeah, yeah. And I'm not going to judge people for doing it. I understand what society's been created. I get it. But when you learn to have fun and live life, from a really healthy place, shit, man, I have so much fun in life. I have the best human beings in my life. Not that you can't have people that drink alcohol in your life that aren't great, but I've got really solid human beings in my life. And if they're not, they don't get to be in my life. They don't get to be in my life.
So now you went to AA,
Yeah,
you got divorced.
right. Yeah, got divorced immediately.
Did
Yeah.
you move?
I went up to the Bay Area of all things, and my dad had a big CNC ADA machining, big CNC operated machining company that had big contracts with Hewlett Packard and KLA Tencor, and he had 135 employees. I was just the owner's son, and I went in there and got paid because my dad wanted, it's so much wounding from what he did, I think, and that it felt good to have me around, but I watched that man on a daily basis and what he did and started gambling with penny stocks with the company money and stuff, it's toxic, just really toxic. So what happened was I was at an AA conference in Sacramento and I was walking through the mall and this woman caught my eye and I caught her eye, and I, and so she came back and circled back and saw my name tag from Alcoholics Anonymous conference. She goes, "What is this for?" And that's how we started the conversation. I ended up marrying that woman. She was in Sacramento. That's how I got to Sacramento. So she had a 4-year-old and a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, two boys when I met her. And I didn't know what to do. I decided I was going to get into real estate. And so I got into real estate. We got married about 9 months, 10 months later in the living room of a little halfplex that she had assumed from this young couple that couldn't afford it. Her ex-husband did a number on her, trashed her completely. She brought all that baggage into our relationship. I didn't know that at the time, but
How old are
um,
you at this point?
I'm 30, uh, 32.
Okay.
32. Got sober at 30, married her right before my 32nd birthday. um, so we get married, and I get my real estate license right before that. And so married in December and January, I hang my license with a broker there in Sacramento. And I took to real estate like a duck to water. It was like I hated the car business, man. I absolutely hated the car business. I never wanted to go back to it. When I got into real estate, I didn't have to sell anything. Just I had to sell me. That's all I had to sell. And so I did okay my first year in real estate. Here I am, a brand new stepdad. And by the way, her ex-husband did all kinds of terrible things that were unlawful. So we get married in January. I'm a new stepdad to these 4-year-old and 6-year-old. I got no model on how to raise kids. And then in February, the IRS and the feds knock on our door from all the shit that her ex-husband was involved in while they were married.
It's like deja vu.
It sounds like his life.
Yeah. So I'm
Almost to a
like,
T.
yeah. So I'm sitting there in the middle of this story, your guys' story.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Kind
That
of.
exact thing happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind
So
of.
here I
Kinda.
am. Yeah. I ended up, it was really interesting, as that happened. And she had so much rage in her, my ex. She had so much rage and hate for this man, and the stuff that she would say to him and scream at him. He ended up going to prison later on. I was dad to these two boys, and I had to figure out how to make a living. So I did okay my first year in real estate. I sold 17 houses, and I thought that was okay. But
I think that's a lot, no? No.
by the so I started in January. By the second February, I had 17 deals in escrow at one time.
Wow.
Yeah. So me and real estate were a thing. I think I sold 55 houses my second year, and in the middle of that, I realized, we sold that halfplex, moved into a bigger house pretty quick, and I said, shit, the market's really kind of taken off. This was like 2001, 2002, and I went back and I bought the same model halfplex for about 15 grand more than we'd sold the one we got rid of. And 14 months later, I sold it for 100,000 more than I paid for it. And she said she goes, do whatever you want. You flip as many houses as you want to flip. And I said, okay. So I took all the extra money I ever had. And I think I made 110,000 net my part in May, my second year. So I started taking money and flipping houses. And then I was involved with, I had a friend, this commercial developer, Paul, and I went to him and I kept kind of bugging him, poking him, and said, "We need to flip some houses." I knew he had a lot of money. I said, "We need to flip some houses," and he finally said, "Okay, let's do two." I said, "Oh, we'll do two." Well, I made so much money on those two. He goes, "Let's just open an account at the same bank and let's just start going." Well, Paul and I did 150 houses together,
Wow.
and so we just opened up accounts at the same bank, and I said, "I need 225 for this one. That includes the rehab cost." He funded 100%. He funded everything.
Right.
I looked up at one point, and I think we had 15 houses going at one time, and I said, I got 3.5 million of your money out on a handshake. Everything was in my single party LLC." He
Right.
goes, "Yeah, you think we should do something about that?" I said, "I don't know." So the CPA said, "Can you guys just do like a one-page something that we
Yeah.
have?" So, but I've always been very, trustworthy with people's money, and but we did about 150 houses together, and eventually he needed to move on to other things, and then I went on my own and just kept going with. I've had soccer parents put money in. Everybody knew what I was doing. So I've owned over 350 residential and commercial houses in my real estate career.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, just flipping them. I had 15 tenants at one point, and but I didn't. I was managing everything on my own. Managing the relationship. I've coached 15 seasons of youth sports. I've been a Boy Scout master for all my boys. Spent summers at the Boy Scout camp. I volunteered in all of my kids' elementary school classes up till third grade. I overdid all the time because I never had a parent do anything for me.
Hmm.
I never. I know there's balance now that parents need to have, especially after being a coach and watching all these helicopter parents and having them in 3 sports at one time. And I just, story after story of,
It's too much.
it's way too much, man. It's like, it's part of the system.
Right.
It's part of the system. We talked about ball before this thing started. It's part of the system to keep you in sports. And then the companies that own, the companies that sell you all of the equipment, they're owned by Big Brother. They own it all. They own it all and they push it all down. So they keep you attached to all this thing and what you should do and shouldn't do.
Right.
Yeah. So
Just that control we talked about.
controlling. Yeah, the con is trolling you.
Mhm.
Yeah, the con's trolling you. So the interesting thing, about it is I go through my relationship, it was 9 years in that we hit a wall in the relationship, and she had her own issues. I had mine. Of course, there's two people in a relationship, and but we did 3 separations in the last 5 year of a 14-year marriage. We were apart for a year. During that year, I had a nervous breakdown, had a panic attack. Everything fell. I was in the hospital. I was 41 years old, and just all the balls. We were trying to put our marriage back together after being apart for about 8, 9 months, going to therapy, real estate company, 35 agents, loan company, mortgage company, all the houses that I owned, the kids, all the sports I was coaching, and it just all the balls just dropped at one time, and just numbness shot all through my body. Couldn't stop sweating. Thought I had a heart attack, and it was a panic attack. And so I got on some medication at that time for a little bit to help me with that, and I was grateful for that. But it's nothing I never needed, later on in life. But yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
then did
Hmm.
you have children with her?
We
Or-
did. We had our own 2 children. So we had, Cade and she had Keaton and Caleb. They were 4 and 6. And then not long after we got married, we had Kennedy and Cade.
Okay.
So yeah, my kids are amazing. I love my kids
How
so
old are
much.
they now?
18 and 20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Cade's 18, just started Chico, college at Chico up in Northern California, and Kennedy's starting her 3rd year at Santa Barbara. And she's taking a semester off this semester, but just great human beings, man. Just solid kids, all of them, just really solid. My son's dabbling in some drinking with his buddies a little bit, so, I'm watching him.
Keep your eye
It's
on it.
like, dude, just don't drive your fucking car. I said,
Mhm.
Yeah.
just go. You guys. He's with about 20 kids, all from Sacramento. The one thing that in my when Jenny and I finally said we're done for good. Um, our house was paid for, and the cars were paid for. I didn't have really any debt, so it was important for me because I had such instability that she never worked. She was a stay-at-home mom for 14 years. I wanted to keep that in place. So for 5 years after our divorce, I made sure she had enough money every month to be a stay-at-home mother with our children. That's one of the reasons our children are so good is because they didn't ever come home and not have a parent there.
We did
So
that too.
yeah. So it was so important. It was the best. It was one
It
of the
is
best
so
gifts.
important.
It is, and it's like we have this society now where both parents work, or
Hmm.
I mean, hell, we don't have dads at homes anymore. And it's
Right.
like, so that's all got to be unwound, and that's a big part of the work I do in balancing the masculine and the feminine energy on the planet right now because it's so out of balance.
So out of balance.
So out of
I
balance,
agree.
and the law of the universe is order, and the law of the universe is balance.
Hmm.
So we have to have it properly feminine, masculine. It has to be in balance so that we fly together properly. Yeah, it's a big part of the work.
Totally agree with
Hmm.
that. So,
Yeah,
you guys are still close?
me and my ex.
Hmm.
Hell no, I don't like
Oh,
her at
you
all.
don't like her?
No.
Okay.
We
I
haven't
say
talked
mixed
in
ring.
almost 2
He likes
years.
his kids. He doesn't like her.
We haven't
I
actually
didn't know
talked in
that.
almost 2 years. I love her as being the mother of my children, but I don't ever wanted to have anything to do with her. It's
Okay.
just I did a lot of work around her because part of what led up to my awakening, was I had a girlfriend that brought a woman named Nicole Johnson into my life. I'm about 46. And then another girlfriend later brought Kadia Matara into my life. And I started working with both of these women and doing the real work. And I didn't know till after working with Nicole for 3 years that she was a shaman. I'd never heard of shamans. I didn't know what a shaman was.
I didn't either, but I learned on this show.
Did
So,
you learn? Oh,
yeah.
you learned. Yeah, you learned. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. People call me a shaman. They call me a healer. I don't use labels. It's like one of my favorite books is The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, and there's a part in that book that drills who am I, who am I, who am I, who am I, down to I'm just a being of light, occupying this avatar, and I've signed a contract before I came here. And we all have an essence. We all have a reason, a purpose that we were born. Most people don't find that, so they're stuck in this soul trap. They keep bouncing them back in over and over, and we got to keep redoing it until we finally have a moment where you wake up and it's like, oh, this is all bullshit. This is
Mhm.
all an illusion designed to trap me. And until I let go and cut all the cords with all of the stuff, I can't fly. So I'm all about helping people fly. I'm all about blowing wind beneath their wings. So when I started working with Nicole in all those years, and then Kadia, I was working with both of them every week.
Working with both of them doing what?
Nicole and I were doing a lot of writing. Nicole taught me about soul retrieval. She taught me about there's pieces of you that are lost that like when I was witnessed what I witnessed at age 6, age 7, age 10, age 11, age 12. Because my mom moved and left me twice, not just the one time. Before that, right before I graduated elementary school, my mom and Earl moved to Odessa from San Angelo and left me with a friend and his mom.
Oh.
When I had stitches in my knee and playing baseball and had a month and a half of elementary school left, and they just moved. So I had a lot of the abandonment stuff's huge
Hmm.
was huge for me to finally get rid of. I hated being alone, and it's like my favorite pastime now is like I don't really like humans. I don't really like humans that much. So, but doing that deep inner work with Nicole, I did a lot of writing with her, and it wasn't until I was really stuck, and I was every time I'd go see Nicole, I would save my ex. I would because I had infidelity, so I must be a demon, right? And I would go back and do it the same way again if I had to go back. I'm not proud of anything but I don't regret anything. Everything happened so that I could be this today, and so that I look back now and I see the work I was doing with Nicole she had me write a dead letter because she was tired of me saving this woman. Because she knows the details of how Jennifer treated me. She knows the stuff that I put up with. So she goes, why do you keep fucking saving her? I'm in these sessions. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, there were two people in that marriage. Whether there was infidelity or not infidelity, it doesn't matter. There was two people in that relationship. When are you going to say what you want to fucking say? Because I had a lot of anger against her. So what do you want me to do? She, I want you to write a dead letter. What the hell is a dead letter? So a dead letter is a letter you write and you say everything you want to say that you're not going to send to her. You're going to bring it to me and we're going to go over it. I fought doing this thing. I didn't want to do it. And then I finally sat down and 10 pages came out of the nastiest shit you would ever say to a human being. I hope you choke on your new boyfriend's big ass cock, you fucking C word. I laid it all out, it's like, you fucking did this in our relationship and all this fucking shit. And I just blah, right? About page 5, I went, OMG. This is the moment I left her. This was the moment that I fell out of love with her. And it was 9 years into the marriage, my dad died. And my dad had passed away, and he hadn't been real involved in my kids' lives, and he was really involved in my stepbrother and stepsister kids, their kids' lives. And he was only like 2 hours away from me. He wasn't involved that much. So he he passes away, and I'm at the funerals happening, and then my then wife, and I was Mormon, by the way.
Oh,
She was Mormon when I met her, so I got baptized in the Mormon church. Not once. I got baptized into that fucking church twice, because I got excommunicated for cheating on her. And then I did all the stuff you're supposed to do. I did 2 years of repentance, right? And then they finally were going to allow me back in, and I said, fuck you guys. It's just a mess. Anyway, it's a
how
cult.
long were you married
It's a cult.
when you first cheated?
9 years. 9
Okay.
years. Yeah, 9 years. Yeah. And like I said, it happened the way it was supposed to happen for a reason. So, there was things that went on in the relationship that I put up with for a long time, and it doesn't make it right. It's just, it happened, and I don't live with regrets. So anyway, so I'm working with Nicole, and we're doing she writes a dead letter, and right in that dead letter is when I realized that the moment that Jennifer said, I don't want the older boys coming to your dad's funeral. I'm like, what? I'm like, I've coached all their sports. They've been sealed to me in the temple. I've volunteered in all their events. We're a family. I need my family at my dad's funeral. I don't want the boys coming. I'm like, that was it. That was the moment I realized we weren't a family. And I wouldn't have got there if I hadn't written that dead letter. It doesn't make anything, justify anything. It's just that
What
was
are
the
you
moment.
doing for business at this point? Still real estate?
No.
No.
Real estate
What?
and I separated a long time ago. No. So what happened for me was I was doing all this work with Nicole and Kadia. Kadia was doing cellular energy clearing on me, and I learned about shamans. So I wanted to learn about shamanism. So I got online and I saw the gathering of the shamans, and it was put on in Sedona, and it was with Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the 4 agreements and the 5th agreement, the 5 levels of attachment. Him and his sons wrote these books. I said, I want to go to that. And it was sold out. And Vicki Higgins, who I got in contact with, said, we have a spot for a volunteer if you want to come be a volunteer. I said, well, I want to do that anyway. So I go to the gathering of the shamans, and I meet this woman named Linda Starwolf, who I've now cut the tie with because I needed to cut the tie with her. But she was the mother of shamanic breathwork. I'd never heard of breathwork. And there was this energy exchange between her and I when we hugged each other. And it was insane. I'd never felt anything like it before. So Saturday, I'm assigned to work her breathwork workshop. And of the 200 people, 85 of them choose to come to her workshop. So I got 85 people in a room getting ready to do a breathwork journey. And I was just going to sit back and watch. I wasn't going to participate. And then they put me on the front wall, and I did the breathwork journey. And I mean, I had a massive spiritual awakening. Huge. I mean, ridiculous. And I was married to my 3rd wife at the time, who was a doctor, a pediatrician, hospitalist with Kaiser Permanente in California. And she was, but I married an alcoholic, and I didn't know it.
What?
I didn't see it coming. So I was white knuckling for a year and 8 months. I was white knuckling that relationship, debacle after debacle happening with her drinking. It was terrible. And so I go to this event, and I lay down, and Starwolf starts physically moving energy on me in my sacral area. And I mean, boom, I take off. I'm like eyes closed, flying in the cosmos. Stars and planets are all around me, and it was very real. And I look to my right, and there's these 2 luminous beings next to me. And they point to Orion, and they said, you're from there. They said, you're from there. You're an ancient wisdom master, and you're here to help this planet evolve during this time of great transformation and transmutation. And you're here to balance the feminine and masculine energy. We've given you a gift at birth that we're going to now expose for you, and we're going to help you bring it forward into the world. That's what happened. And then after that, she moves her energy up on my heart chakra, and this blue ball just went like that. And I'm flying all over Earth as an eagle. And I said, oh my God, I'm an eagle. I arched my back. And there's got people losing their minds around me in breath work, screaming, yelling. And I'm in my own journey, and all of a sudden, just it hit me. I'm the plants, I'm the birds, I'm the rocks, I'm the streams, I'm black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Indian, and black. I'm male, female, feminine, masculine. I'm everything and everything. I'm a car. I'm a house. I'm everything and everything's me. And it hit me like that. And right after that, my heart turned into this massive gold heart and just went, and gold dust just blew out all over humanity. And I had this massive moment of pure love for everything and everybody on the planet. When I say I don't like everybody, it doesn't mean I don't love them. I have a lot of love and compassion for everybody on the planet. But at that moment, I was like, oh my God, I love everybody. And from that moment forward, and that's May 4th of 2019, it's been an alchemical process to, I went home on Monday and asked for a divorce. I started changing everything, the illusion I had built to protect myself, to feel safe. I started shedding it all, and my kids were like, "What the hell are you doing, Dad?" I'm like, I've got a calling now." And what do you mean you got a calling? Like I've just been rearranged on a cellular level, and I have something I have to bring to the planet now. Like what? My daughter was pissed. She was not happy, and so I started traveling the world. I go to all over. I go to Peru, all these places I'm called to go to. Mallorca, Madrid. I lived on the island of Cyprus for a while with Dr. Demetriadis doing some work. And then I started writing books. The books just started coming.
You have
And
6, right?
by next month, I'll be a 7-time published author within a 2.5-year
What
period.
are they called?
The Gift of Inspirations was when I self-published, and then I republished it through Mindster Media with Kevin Harrington writing the foreword on that one. The first one I wrote was Cracking the Rich Code, Volume 2. I wrote that one with Kevin Harrington and some other authors. That one went international #1 bestseller, and it's a co-authored book. There's a lot of those things going on right now. But then I wrote my own and self-published it, republished it, and then after that, I wrote Salt, and both of those are out now. I have copies of those for you guys. So I have Salt: Surrender, Accept, Let Go, and Trust. That was an acronym that came right after my awakening. And then the next one that's coming out real soon, which is going to be the one that anybody that wants help is going to want to buy. It's called The Gifts of Desperation: A Journey Back to Me. And ME means my essence. And that is a thought with an expansion of the thought with an affirmation at the bottom of every page. And there's like 120 of those, I think. The Gift of Inspirations is 218 quotes of mine. And then I just wrote The Gift of Inspirations, Volume 2, and I have that one with my publisher right now as well. And then I've got a 14-chapter book that I'm finishing up. It's called Cosmic Soul, Where Science Meets Spirit. And that book was originally a book in the CERN library. There was originally scientific book called SMART, Stored Memory Access Retrieval Technique. And I've now added the spiritual side to that and got permission to just give scientific credit to Dr. Demetriadis. And I'm gonna self-publish that one. I'm gonna publish that one as well, and another one. I got some more books coming. So.
So